Hey, what's up, everybody? BDO 44 coming at you with another video. All right, so tonight, knockout round in season tournament. We're in Vegas, 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern. New Orleans Pelicans, LA Lakers. It's one for the ages coming about right now. I'm telling y'all, this is going to be a very, very serious basketball game. Obviously, not only for what it's worth in regards to one game away from the championship series, where we would ultimately be playing either the Bucks or the Pacers if we were to win it, but also because of the matchup who we have to see tonight. Now, they are missing a few guys. Larry Nance Jr., of course, ex-Laker. Matt Ryan, 37 is a weapon, ex-Laker. Both going to be out for this matchup. But everybody else, they got. And they have Zion Williamson, Brandon Ingram, CJ McCollum, Jonas Valanciunas, Herb Jones, and they also have two of the best shooters, young shooters out there in Trey Murphy III and Jordan Hawkins, Jose Alvarado. They have a very, very loaded basketball team. Najee Marshall is a respected defender in this league. Cody Zeller, respected center on this league. They have plenty of talent on this team, man. Dyson Daniels, a lottery pick from several years ago, who stepped into his defense, athletic point guard. The matchups for the Lakers, we are very blessed to have all our guys back. That's what I will say. The only person we're missing is Gabe Vincent for this particular matchup too. So that's why I think this is going to be a clash of the Titans. Neither one of these teams have played with their full team all season long. CJ McCollum missed a great deal of time with collapsed lung or something like that, or just a crazy freak injury. Trey Murphy just got back, in the last game or 2 games ago. He's been out all season. So this team, just like us, is finally seeing what they look like fully healthy and still have to kind of get used to the rotations that come with new players coming back into the fold, particularly Trigger and CJ. So that, my friends, makes it so that they're basically a mirror image of us. Bron James, Zion Williamson, Anthony Davis, Brandon Ingram, CJ McCollum. We're going to need D'Angelo Russell and Austin Reeves to play exceptionally well to match basically the star power that the New Orleans Pelicans are bringing to the table. They have shot at 50% or ever so slightly below 50% in all 3 of the last previous matchups: San Antonio, Chicago, and of course the knockout round with the Sacramento Kings, where they took care of the Kings by about 10 points. If I'm not mistaken, Brandon Ingram with a 30. This is a very, very serious team that is shooting very well from the field, and we're coming off shooting below 40% from the field. So if we're missing layups and stuff like that tonight against this squad, it's going to be a loss. If we're not guarding the perimeter and shooting better against this squad like we did, Phoenix, if we don't play that same type of defense, it will be a loss. And unlike Phoenix, they got fast, athletic, young players. See, Phoenix, we had to deal with the uber talented Kevin Durant, who shot lights out for a good portion of the game, and of course Devin Booker, for which we did amazing defensively against. But this team has uber athletic players, super young shooters, and so this is not as easy of a matchup on paper as Phoenix looked without Bradley Beal. And with some of those role players that they got, Pelicans have infinitely better role players, if you ask me. They're a lot better, man. And so that's the problem with running into the Pelicans. And not only that, but we don't know the Pelicans. We haven't seen them since last season. And although we did win that matchup, we're coming in needing to play at a higher level with them having even more reinforcements this season. Jose Alvarado was hurt last year. He is not hurt right now. And if you watch my brief Laker video that I made yesterday, I told y'all that I did not want to forget about Jose Alvarado's stealing ways. He is going to try to jump the inbounds play probably twice tonight. So he's going to do it in such a way that you're not going to see it coming. He always tries that nonsense. He usually acts like he's either talking to somebody on the sidelines or acts like he's outside of the play, and then jumps into the passing lane as you're inbounding the ball from under his basket. If we're not prepared for that, we're idiots, because this dude does it in every damn game, especially against us. He's shooting very well too, so you got to respect his 3-point shot. He shot 2 for 3 against Sacramento. Trigger Murphy is back, one of the best shooters in the world, one of my favorite young players. If you don't respect the perimeter against this team, it's going to be lights out. Jordan Hawkins, one of the best three-point shooters the game probably has ever seen. He's a rookie, but trust me, that's exactly where that's headed with him. If you don't respect him from behind the arc, it's going to be a problem. I don't know if they're going to play him because he didn't play against Sacramento, but he is one of the top rookies in this league right now. And since this is a knockout game, I think he'll probably get a couple minutes at least. So prepare for the microwave shooting ability of the Pelicans bench. It's coming. And CJ McCollum's on this team. He could go for 40. B.I. can go for 40 or 50 points. Zion's obviously impossible to guard. You're just going to need to understand that there are going to be some things out there that we're going to have to work really hard at stopping. And if they're all clicking at the same time, they're probably going to beat us. That's the reality of it, especially if guys like D'Lo and Austin and Rui aren't playing like their best selves. The matchups don't favor us in this game, just being completely honest with you. Now, LeBron James is coming off at 35. I think he had 30 points, 30-plus points, something like that. It's 5 steals, heavy on the assists, heavy on the rebounds. He's going to have to play like that tonight. And going up against a guy like Zion Williamson, he might not have the physical edge. He's just not going to be the strongest person on the floor. But that is not necessarily something that we don't have an ability to overcome, because at the end of the day, we have a lot more experience than this Pelicans team, particularly in these type of situations where we've been to the Western Conference Finals. Although they've played some playoff ball, they don't know one another in these type of situations. Zion hasn't been in this type of situation where it's win or go home in the NBA. So though B.I. has, given the fact that he played a very serious first round against the Phoenix Suns, I believe it was 2 years ago, had some playoff experience, this is an entirely different level of intensity than what the overall team has been through together. Of course, CJ has some experience, but when it comes to a win or go home for all the marbles type of thing, I think LeBron and AD's experience will lead us to victory tonight. But I need everybody to understand that the Pelicans' record is not who they are. No different than our record is not who we are. We've been lucky to win certain games while our players were out. We're missing half of our team, and we got some nice victories that maybe we wouldn't otherwise got. The Pelicans weren't as lucky, so their record's a lot worse than ours, or rather somewhat worse than ours, but you can't really look at that no more. You got to throw these records away and just look at how these teams have played over the last 2 games, because that's when they've both found themselves to be 100% healthy for the first time all season. Again, with the exception of Gabe Vincent, Larry Nance, and Matt Ryan, who are out for both teams. But you got to throw them records out. That's it. That's what it really comes down to. Throw the records out. New team, new rotation, new responsibilities for everybody on the team. Guys get slotted back into their proper roles. And that's what I expect to see from the Lakers and the Pelicans tonight. It's for all the marbles, man. This is a playoff game. Whether it would be seen as a playoff game or not by the history books is irrelevant. The intensity of tonight's matchup is going to be win or go home, Game 7 type stuff. Whoever wins this game goes on to win to compete for the NBA Cup, and these teams want that $500,000. So role players are going to be chippy, shooters are going to be shooting, and defense is going to tell the story for the Lakers, especially if our offense is trash. They just scored 127 points against a very good Sacramento Kings scoring team. We need to shoot well against them. That's what it really comes down to. They shot above 50% from the field against Sac, above 40% from the 3. They're shooting well as a whole. And with the type of talent that they have shooting the ball from behind the arc, there's no guarantee they don't go for 43s tonight. Like, there's no guarantee. Trigger Murphy don't shoot 10. CJ can shoot 10. Jordan Hawkins can shoot 10. B.I. can shoot 10. Like, they really have that type of shooting. And with Zion in the paint, they can dunk everything. Now, a problem for our Lakers tonight is Jonas Valanciunas. On top of them having Zion at 300 pounds, they got Jonas Valanciunas at 300 pounds. So the type of physicality that we're going to have to deal with, the type of offensive rebounding capabilities with Herb Jones as well, the matchups just don't necessarily favor us in that way. Now, we do have our reinforcements back, though. Vanderbilt, Rui Hachimura, Anthony Davis, Jackson Hayes, AD and Hayes, both of whom played for the Pelicans, who should be wide awake for this basketball game. But if guys don't look to rebound the ball, if guys aren't prepared for the physicality possibilities of this team, it's going to be a long night, man. Especially with Jonas Valanciunas sitting in the paint, capable of also shooting threes. We just got to be very, very aware of just how much firepower they have. We cannot And I'm going to say this with a lot of respect. We cannot afford to have Darvin Ham screw this up with his rotations tonight, man. That's what it really comes down to. You will lose this basketball game and any other basketball game against this roster if you do not respect the length and the size of Zion, Herb, B.I., and Jonas specifically. If you don't respect that, you're in trouble. And on the perimeter, like I said, they got two of the best shooters on planet Earth in Trigger Murphy, Jordan Hawkins, and of course C.J. McCollum, who is their leading assist player, but I think that's actually a problem. If I were the Pelicans, I would probably look to move on from CJ to bring myself a more traditional point guard who can get everybody involved, although B.I. and Zion could also make plays for others. If CJ's your best passer, that's a problem because he does not pass the ball very much, and that's my issue with CJ. Maybe his game is growing in that way, but when I watch CJ for the Pelicans specifically, he tends to overshoot and not pass enough to the other guys who otherwise can help him as well. So that's my problem with the Pelicans. I just think they overall capped by the fact that CJ has the ball in his hands so much and is looking to help himself. With that being said, I don't think he's going to be in that position tonight. I think there's going to be a B.I.-type basketball game, given the fact that he used to be a Laker. We trade him away for, Anthony Davis along with other stuff. This is going to be a night where B.I. is going to want to go for a career high or something like that. And they're going to try to rally around him to win the basketball game, I believe. With that being said, Zion Williamson is down there. And if you don't know of Zion Williamson, he's probably the most explosive athlete at that size since LeBron James. He is all-powerful, and he's a tank. And if you're trying to draw a charge against him, you're probably going to be in a lot of pain. It's just that simple. The dude is a monster. He's very agile. He's very swift. He does make plays for others. And one of the reasons why they're so good in the paint is because he doesn't necessarily lay much up. It's all dunks. So we just got to be prepared for Zion, particularly defensively as well. Between him and Herb Jones, Trigger Murphy, they're going to try to get out in the passing lane, steal the ball. Zion is an underrated steals player. He really does play great defense, so it's going to be on our guys to play well. Of course, Austin Reeves returned in the last basketball games. We were very happy to see him gain his confidence in that game, getting a big-time three-point shot, getting a couple steals, just doing a lot of great things for his team, and the last one being efficient, as we need him to be. If we can get him and D'Angelo Russell on the same page while everybody else is healthy, we're basically impossible to beat. But for whatever reason, they can never seem to play well at the same time. We need that to change tonight if we're going to get to the NBA Cup Finals game. And so that's who I'm looking at, both of those young players right there. Because at the end of the day, they got so much reliable shooting on the New Orleans Pelicans, so much capable defense on the New Orleans Pelicans, so much size in the paint that can kind of rival what we have and wear down our bigs to where we're going to need those guys to play well on the perimeter and ultimately be effective defensively. Now, D'Angelo Russell had 5 steals in the game before last, and then he came back and had a subpar game in that last game. The inconsistency of D'Angelo Russell cannot be a problem tonight. We're going to need him to be somebody who's playing very well tonight. It can't be bad D-Lo and expect to have any success against the Pellies. He's got to shoot well. He's got to play defense, and he can't have a disappearing act tonight. Anthony Davis, of course, he's playing against his old team. Obviously, we're going to rally around him, just like I'd imagine the Pellies going to rally around B.I. He should be uber motivated to beat this team. I expect for him to go over 35 points tonight if we want to have any success. And that's going to be incumbent upon us to continue to feed him the basketball in both quarters. It can't just be in the first quarter where he goes off and then finds himself disappearing after the coming out of the locker room. If we have a night like that, I do not suspect we'll win the basketball game. We're going to need him to be a superstar tonight for us to beat this team in this type of environment. Vegas is a Laker town. We know that. And we also have an understanding that the NBA is not going to allow us to wear our city jerseys that say Los Angeles in Vegas. They're basically saying because of the fact that it has some type of visual contrast issues in regards to the floor that they're going to be using, which is a red, white, and blue floor with the same template that the other tournament floors have had. They are basically saying they want the Lakers to wear yellow tonight. I think that's a bit disruptive for us, given the fact that we've had so much success wearing these black uniforms. We want to continue to do what it is we want to do in that way. But we're going to have to find a way to wear yellow and get the same result. And so that's just what it is. I'm a little irritated by that, given the fact that I've cited the fact that I see visual, problems possibly being an issue in regards to other floors that they've been using the entire tournament. So for them to point this out against us, I just think is really rich of them, given the fact they've had literally big blinding red floors on the floor that just literally can give you epilepsy. But I don't know what else to say other than I've been complaining about that the entire time, and now they want to cite this against us. I just think it's quite interesting how that just kind of played itself out. But nevertheless, we will be wearing yellow tonight, and the Pellies will be wearing white on that floor. So I don't know, man. Whatever. We'll wear what we need to wear, and we'll compete the way we need to compete, and hopefully we can win the game, despite having these little slight changes affect how and what we do. But it is what it is, man. We're ready to go. The LA Lakers are about as healthy as they're going to get. Obviously, Gabe Vincent is still out. He's not expected to be back anytime soon either. So this is the team that we have, and I'm excited about it. We got length. We got versatility. We're lacking some shooting to a degree, but overall, if our guys are doing what they're supposed to do, Austin Reeves, D'Lo, Rui are capable of hitting shots, definitely capable of helping us defensively if they're all in. And that's what we need tonight. We need a heavy dose of Vando. I know we've been limiting his minutes. Kind of went with Taurean Prince. We got away with it. I would rather us not try that tonight. I just think the Pelicans, when you got Herb Jones on the floor, B.I. on the floor, Zion on the floor, Jonas on the floor, there's too much length to be toying around with Taurean Prince. But we're going to probably do that anyway. So hopefully Taurean has a good game with the minutes. But this is not a Taurean Prince night, man. We would be wise to kind of get away from him unless he's shooting the ball absolutely well. This is a night you want to play more Vando, more Rui, more Cam, and that's pretty much where I'm at with that. So hopefully we can get a healthy dose of those guys. We got one of the best steals players in the world right now in Cam Reddish. He hasn't had too many steals in the last couple games, but he is third overall in steals. So hopefully that helps us offset the Herb Joneses and the Alvarados and those guys. But all in all, this is just a really, really tough matchup for both teams when you consider the experience of the LA Lakers and you consider the youth, athleticism, and length and size of the New Orleans Pelicans. That's why I think this game could come down to one shot, basically, because with everything on the line, I don't think either team is going to be taking too many possessions off. Now, the Lakers played some really, really good defense against the previous matchup, the Phoenix Suns. So many different looks were thrown at them to try to throw them off. We did everything we could, more or less, to provide a defense that was quality and playoff worthy. I expect the Lakers to do the same thing tonight. That's where we hang our hat. We're not a very good offensive team, to say the least, given the fact that we were under 30% from the three and under 40% from the field in the last game. I do think we're better than that, especially from the field, and we're going to have to be. But otherwise, it's all about defense to offense. And trying to force steals against guys like Zion Williamson, B.I., force turnovers, rather, and rebounding the ball. Rebounding is going to be tough. Although we got our length back, we're definitely going to need it to offset what they bring to the table naturally. As I've already mentioned, all those big guys, it's going to be a task trying to rebound the ball, even with Vando out there and AD out there. But that's what we're going to have to do. Vando's got to win his matchup against Herb Jones. He's going to have to harass B.I. These are things that are going to have to happen, With Herb out there, he's basically Vando. And given the fact that he's been shooting the ball well, we need to be very careful about Herb Jones and how he's developing so very well for the Pelicans. I think he was like 8 of 13 in the last game, several threes. If Herb is playing like that, it's going to be hard for us to beat them, man. Very hard for us to beat them. So we need to be very aware of just how much versatility and just how much talent that's playing two-way ball right now that they have. So that's really what it comes down to, man. Dyson Daniels, excellent defensive guard. He's going to be harassing people. Do not underestimate what he can do coming off the bench. He is a problem. As I said, Najee Marshall, a role player, sort of their Taurean Prince, more or less. Kind of lean on him a little too much, if you ask me. But he does play some really hellacious defense when he wants to. We got to respect him out there. And like I said, Cody Zeller is an unsung hero type of guy. Everywhere he goes, he plays well, rebounds the ball well, draws fouls, hits free throws. You got to respect everything that they have, man, because that's just how good the Pelicans are this season. They have all the elements, in my humble opinion, to compete for a high playoff seeding, and that's why they're where they are right now in the Final Four of the situation, because they've been able to knock off teams. So we're undefeated in this tournament. Of course, home and road records don't matter at all when you consider this as a neutral building, but we could consider it a home building given the fact that, as I said, Vegas is a Laker town. So I expect the whole room to be cheering for us more or less, although Pelicans will definitely have their fans there. And, our game is the second game on tab. We will know who will be sitting there waiting for either of these two teams by the end of this one, because Pacers and Bucks play at 2 p.m. Pacific, 5 p.m. Eastern. So we'll know who we play if we win. And we want to win. That's what it really comes down to. I don't know that we're favored to win based on what I'm seeing on paper. Those matchups don't look that great. And the way that the Pelicans have been shooting the ball, you'd expect for them to score a lot tonight and defend very well. But our experience, I think, is a good betting tool for us. At the end of the day, I mean, it's LeBron James, Anthony Davis, they've won. We know what it takes to get far into the playoffs. Last year, we showed that we can get to the Western Conference Finals, basically with the majority of these players right here. So we've been in competition with teams. We've beaten teams that we're supposed to lose to on paper. And tonight, a tournament matchup for all the marbles. You see the intensity that the Lakers have brought to this tournament. They didn't get this far to roll over, and I do not expect that we will. So, especially with our guys back, I just see us pushing it to the limit, and if the Pellies beat us, it's going to be because they beat a good version of us. So that's what I'm hopeful to see. That's what I expect to see. And if I see that and we happen not to win, I'll tip my hat and be cool with that. But I don't want us to roll over, and I'm very certain that a lot of that's going to be contingent upon AD and D'Angelo Russell being consistent throughout the course of this whole entire basketball game. If both of those guys have a soft basketball game, it's going to be tough for us to beat this team, especially with a monster like Zion on the floor and all that damn shooting. And the size, we have to crash boards. We have to commit to something in regards to that. If they're going to out-rebound us and get second chance and third chance points, we're going to have a hell of a time trying to beat this team. It's just not going to happen. And so with the size matchup issues that I see on that floor, it's going to be ever so important that Darvin Ham does not hold back on playing Vanderbilt. I cannot stress this enough. If we are sitting out there thinking that Taurean Prince is going to get it done, we're going to get our hats brought to us, man. I'm sorry. This is just not a game for average basketball player, bro. It's just not. You need to put your talent on the floor, and you need to let them harass B.I. and Zion all night long, man. You need your best defenders out there. Max Christie needs to be playing out there, especially if he's shooting well. We're going to need his talent level tonight defensively for sure against a guy like CJ. There's no question about that. Cam Reddish, we're going to need these guys, man. We cannot just sit out there and say, well, Taurean can shoot. No, that's not enough. Not against those athletes. Not against that high-level BI. No, it's not enough. And so I'm going to be the guy that says that. I know that's not a nice thing to do, to say, Taurean's played some great ball for us this year, but we just have had him slotted as more of an important player on the depth chart than he should be, and he really does bring down our overall upside when you consider who's not playing in his stead. Now, if we're missing guys, that's one thing, but Rui's back, Vando's back, Cam is back. Those should be the guys you playing instead of him most of the time, and that's it. And if coach is not doing that, there's a good chance we're going to lose this basketball game tonight against a team with nothing but wings. Trigger Murphy's out there. I'm telling you, man, you can't do that against the Pelicans. This is the one team where I'm legitimately telling you, if you do that and Taurean's not absolutely having an out-of-his-mind type of game, they're probably going to beat you, because they just have the type of forwards they continue to throw at him and throw at you, to where if they start working the ball around and he's doing his normal average stuff, they're just going to score on him. They're going to score on us as holes are left open in that regard. D'Lo, we can't have average defensive nights tonight, man. I'm telling y'all, the defense needs to be turned up if we're going to succeed against this Pelicans team with talent everywhere. And so I'm not telling you I think the Pelicans are the best team in the league. I'm just telling you that when you look at their roster, they have one of the most imposing rosters in the league. That's what it really comes down to. They are scary because they attack you in multiple areas. They have extreme talent in multiple areas, different facets of the game on both sides of the floor. And with the size of a Valanciunas out there and the size of Zion Williamson, if they want to just take it to you in the paint and just lay it over your head, they should be able to have success doing that in most situations against most teams. So that's the problem. The shooting and the interior scoring, and then the defensive talent around the perimeter with Herb and Trigger and Alvarado and BI. They should be able to be one of the best defensive teams in the league when they're fully healthy. And then with the closing ability of a CJ, the closing ability of BI, they just have all the elements. They have them all. And the reason why they have them all is because we traded for Anthony Davis and gave them most of those. So that's what it really comes down to, man. We need to understand that. Pelicans are very good. They're very motivated to beat us. And if Anthony Davis doesn't have that same fire and intensity about him to beat his old team, then his old team is going to beat him. And that's just what it is. So they're healthy, man. And we don't know a healthy New Orleans team, no different that they don't know a healthy Laker team. So it is what it is. It's going to be a fill-out process, I think, in the first quarter. These teams don't know one another, as I've said. So I'd expect turnovers. I expect kind of a little, pensive kind of stuff going on that's going to have guys kind of not quite having their full confidence amongst both teams in the first quarter. That's just my prediction. But by the fourth quarter, we're going to be in a shootout, a dogfight, and a wrestling match. That's really what I expect, man. This is a playoff game, a one-and-done game, a tournament game in a neutral setting. This is for all the marbles, man. We're not playing, and they ain't either. So y'all better be ready for the Pelicans. And this is where the stars shine. B.I., Zion, A.D., Bron. This is when the stars shine. CJ, Austin, D'Lo. This is when you have to play well. And I think our team will be motivated to do it, man. So hopefully when this all shakes out, when the dust settles, we'll be the last team standing. We fought this hard to get here, and I don't think there's any other way to approach it. Put it all out there because you've already put so much out there in regards to this tournament. Give it all you got, L.A. So that's pretty much what I got to say. See you at 6 o'clock, BDL 44. Thank you all for watching. I'm out.